Hey there, my name is Sully, and I really came on here because I want to be brutally honest about what autoimmune diseases and chronic conditions, chronic pain, chronic illness, chronic any fucking thing really looks like. Um, I really can't believe I'm even doing this video. I can't believe I had the energy to do it. It's really a miracle because I've been very, very sick for about 5 years now. And I've been hiding, really, because no one understands, at least no one that I know. My family doesn't understand. My friends don't understand. I don't have any friends anymore. I'm completely different. I'm a completely different person than I was when I got sick. So when I got sick, I was really active. I ran 5 to 10 miles a week. I lifted weights religiously. Like if I had to miss a Sunday at the gym, it was meaningful to me. I did overnight backpacking through the woods, set up tent, campfire, loved it, hiking, boating, anything physical is what I really love to do. I loved being active. I loved moving my body. I loved being strong and feeling physically strong. It really was a lot of my identity. And I used my physicality to cope. I had PTSD, chronic PTSD really, from multiple events in my life up until I got sick. And being physical really was a great way to let out my excess energy. And it was such a great release. So about 5 years ago, I got in a new relationship. I was in the medical field working, had a great career going, loved my job. I moved all that to a different state for my new relationship and planned on rebuilding my career here. So very shortly after I moved, I started occasionally getting flu-like symptoms. I just generally didn't feel good for like a day, and then the next day I'd be fine, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's just a thing. I don't know what's going on. I must be fine, and I'm better now. And maybe a couple weeks later I'd have another day like that, or a day where I didn't sleep well, and that started happening more and more. And so my sick days started getting a little closer together, like enough so that it really got my attention, and I'm like, okay, I think something might be going on. But I was so healthy that I wasn't seriously worried. So then I started getting really tight muscles and muscle pain, especially in my neck. So my initial doctor visit was for basically a stiff neck, and I had already looked into it. I thought it was stress, and with the move and everything, I thought, well, that fits. So I had already had, I was already hypothyroid, brain, yeah, doesn't work anymore. I already had hypothyroidism for many years, took levothyroxine to stabilize that, and my results were stable for a very long time. So since I had moved and it was a new doctor, she was like, well, let's go ahead and just test your blood, get an initial, blood test. And surprisingly, the results came back that I had Hashimoto's. And so I was like, wow, that really explains a lot. I looked a lot into it. She referred me to a rheumatologist who, you never get to see for 3 to 6 months if you're lucky. So while I was waiting for my rheumatologist appointment, I started getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I got to the point where a couple months in after my diagnosis of Hashimoto's, I could barely get out of bed. I was not functioning. I couldn't work. I couldn't take care of the house. I couldn't just do general daily things. And so I started to think like, okay, so this is either the absolute worst case of Hashimoto's ever, or something else is going on. And I had that suspicion too, because when I looked up Hashimoto's, as an autoimmune disease, that it's likely that there are other autoimmune diseases coexisting with that. So I went to the rheumatologist and let them know, hey, I think, I feel really shitty. And they did a whole blood workup and found out that I had MCTD, which is another autoimmune disease, and MCTD stands for mixed connective tissue disease, which to my understanding basically means if you take all the millions of autoimmune diseases, every single one of them, and you group them up together and you add up the millions of symptoms that you can have if you have this one or that one, basically, if you have MCTD, mixed means you get a mix of all those symptoms at any time, for any reason, on any given day, and you don't know why, and it's weird, and it's new, and it's fucking awful. So mixed connective tissue disease is what they decided that I had, and I started seeing a new PCP. He also diagnosed me with EDS, which EDS is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Wonderful. And then a couple months later, I was diagnosed with scleroderma. God. About 6 months after my initial diagnosis, so by then I was walking around my house with a walker, and I was 42 years old. And I was on a lot of medication, a fucking lot of medication. And my medical treatment basically got so complicated that I transferred all my care to a large university hospital. So when I went there, I got a new doctor, an internal med doc, and basically over the next 2 years bounced around between 10 to 14, I think I counted at one time, different specialists, cardiologist, neurologist, 2 different kinds of neurologist, dermatologist, immunologist, rheumatologist, neurosurgeons, just all, everybody. I saw them all, and was passed off a lot because almost every single specialist told me that it's very difficult to determine what was causing which symptoms because I had so many overlapping conditions. And I really thought it was basically the end of my life. I started noticing, after a couple of years, the first 2 years I was bedridden, I stopped talking to all my friends. I started gaining weight, and I've got major body issues and didn't want anyone to see me. I really still don't, but here I am. And my weight really bothered me with my new relationship also, my family knew that I was sick, but they were now a state over, and none of them are medically minded. By the way, I really, really advise anyone who has a sick family member, a sick friend, or if you are sick, if you really fucking care about learning as much as you can about what you have and how to deal with it, take a medical and that's brain fog. I have no idea what word I was about to say. It flipped off into the middle of nowhere. You know, Jesus. Medical language, medical terminology. Yeah. Oh my God. Take a medical dermatologist. Take a medical terminology class. And that is just one of the many issues that people with chronic illnesses deal with. Your brain does not any longer work on command. So back to my story, my family really doesn't even know the names of my conditions, let alone what I deal with every single day. And it got to the point where being around my family was really, really hard because they didn't understand. They cared, but I feel like it was really kind of disturbing to see me going downhill like I was for them. They didn't like to see it. I think it made people uncomfortable. At least I felt like it made people uncomfortable, which in turn made me feel uncomfortable. So isolating myself became my norm. I didn't want anything to do with myself, let alone anything around me, anyone around me, or anything that life had going on for me. I was, oh my God, I was going on average, you know, moving forward in the timeline, I was going on average like 4 doctor's appointments a week for another 2 years straight. I was on so many medications, 24 at one point, that I had an actual diagnosis of polypharmacy. And learning to cope with this and learning to live, grieving my old life so deeply was the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. My illness became a whole new trauma on its own. I was a hostage in my own body. I could not get a grip on anything. And in all reality, as many days as I went in between taking showers because I couldn't get the energy, as filthy as my house was, as neglected as my dogs were, as a non-participant in my relationship, as horrible as I felt, there were so many nights that I felt like if I fell asleep and didn't wake up, I would be okay with it. Because that's no way to live. No way to live. I'm the kind of person where, yeah, you work, you know, to live and make a living, but that's just the part that you do so you can live life. For me, work is not life. Experiences outside of that, well, and some inside of it, that's life. Creativity is life. Harmony and people and connection are life. And I didn't have any of that anymore. None of it. I couldn't. It wasn't there. My sickness consumed me to the point where the mental and emotional effects far outweighed how I felt physically. And the word devastating doesn't even come close to covering it. So here I am. I'm 5 years in. I guess I have learned enough and developed enough ways to cope with this to be sitting here right now. I have very good days and a lot of very horrible fucking days. But I feel like now I have enough energy to work on figuring out who I am now, because I don't know who I am anymore. I isolated myself not only from friends and family, but from social media. So I really have been a hermit and a zombie hermit for the last 5 years. Since my energy levels are coming up, I'm getting sparks of creativity again, and like something inside my head is telling me, I'm still here, and it's really nice, and it feels comforting, and it's really nice to feel something familiar inside. I have a long way to go physically. I have a really long way to go mentally. I'm not right at all. My anxiety, my depression are hardcore. During the time of my illness, I saw a therapist regularly, weekly, and still do. And it was discovered that I developed dissociative identity disorder. And I think it's because I was just doing anything I could to dissociate from all of it. So, Jesus, I want to come on here because I want to be honest to God, fucking truthful about how ugly and how nasty chronic illnesses can be. They do so much destruction to your life that is so far beyond physical. Before I became a sick person, I had no clue what being a patient in the healthcare system was really like. I'm between that and between coping with being sick and dealing with what I've dealt with, I'm disturbed deep down inside. But I have to know that there's a way to come out of this. I've seen stories of people that do it. And so I'm committed now to creating new habits for myself, new daily habits, putting my precious energy into redeveloping myself. And now that I've learned how to better cope physically, I want to better learn how to cope mentally. And I don't feel like I see a lot of stuff about the mental and emotional effects of chronic illnesses. And so here I am. I want to put it all out there. I don't want to be ashamed. I don't want to feel embarrassed. I know there's somebody out there else who has dealt with what I've dealt with. And connecting with you is really important to me. It really means everything to me. But in order to connect again, brutal honesty is what I need. It's what I need to do to start getting this out of my system. And hopefully, if you're out there, we can connect. Hopefully I can find something that helps you too. Come out of this hole, start crawling out of it. I can't give up. I won't give up. I don't have it in me to give up. And now 5 years later, I'm 5 years older. My life is completely different. And I feel like it's almost like I have a clean slate in a way. to redevelop myself into who I want to be. I'm really spiritual, and I'm looking to raise my vibration, have more positive thoughts, get my creativity back, get some stability in my head back so I'm just not all over the place anymore. And I want to try to feel my feelings again, because feelings are everything. Feelings are what drive us to do what we do, and it's what connects us as humans. I want to get back to what's really important to me more than anything. So hopefully I find something that will help you. I want to share it all. I want to share all the ugliness, because honesty and openness is bringing out the truth. And I don't feel like anything will change inside of me unless the truth is recognized and realized. So hit the like button, hit subscribe. I'm going to have a lot more videos coming up. I want to give you hope. Giving you hope gives me hope. There's got to be a way to fix this. Thank you.